Hello, I'm Karen Jefford, and this is the 7+1 Framework series. We've worked through the framework step by step, and this is where it all starts to come together. And with the help of my trusted friend, Alessandro Calzolari, we're going to talk through sustaining partnerships. This is the step about what happens next. Last step we talked about corporate social responsibility, building those partnerships. Now it's about sustaining them, because starting a partnership is one thing, but sustaining them is something else entirely. It's a bit like a relationship, really. It needs structure, it needs consistency, and most partnerships don't end because they fail. They end because they never built to last. The homework wasn't done. It was a quick fix. We previously talked about tick box exercise. This absolutely is not what this is about. That becomes very frustrating. It becomes very labor intensive because there's good intentions at the start, but they're not going to last if you're both not on the same page. So for a partnership to last well, there needs to be energy, there needs to be an alignment, but over time, communication might drop. The person that you started to work with might move on. And the impact doesn't always seem to be visible. And then both of you are feeling like you're on different pages, not because the people don't care, but because perhaps that partnership hasn't been designed to continue. So with this step, I want you to think about, do your partnerships really feel like they're growing, or are they slightly drifting? Alessandro, what tends to happen psychologically when that consistency isn't there?
Consistency, it depends what we mean by consistency. So based on my experience, there are different types of consistency. So let me share my personal experience by looking at the different types of consistency. So the first, and that you have already mentioned, is called like consistency of communication. So how we communicate with other partner. In that case, we experience, for example, ambiguity. Like there is very ambiguous. And when this happens, when people are unsure what it means, what like this partnership means anymore. And the lack of communication. So in one of our previous videos, I said we need to choose. It's like tuning, like increasing the level of quality of our communication inside and outside of the company. So the consistency in terms of communication, when we review, refine our communication, that is one of the most important reasons. And psychologically, that is going to create this level of confusion, what this means. Because after like months or years of working together, we lose this the meaning of our communication, the quality of our communication. Sometimes the consistency could also be in terms of intent. And probably people that they're gonna watch this video have experienced that the attention shifts elsewhere. So the partnership is like there is low priority. It's not my top priority. At the very beginning of any relationship with a person, in this case a partnership, we are so excited to do something together, to contribute to the mission of a charity. But over time, for many reasons, we shift our attention to something else that it looks more maybe rewarding over time. So consistency of intent is also very, very important. And always review. It's not just reviewing our communication, but also our intent. Another type of consistency is in terms of visibility. So there is no reinforcement in terms of value. So in step number 1, we discuss about purpose. So how can I make my purpose much more clear? Is to also be consistent. And sometimes when we feel emotionally disconnected, to the purpose of what we're doing, we are not consistent anymore. Many people, they say, I don't want to say what I do. And the reason for that, because they feel emotionally disconnected. There is no value. And when there is like a tougher moment in life and business, when we go back to the direction, the meaning, the why, is the value, what is the value that I can bring every single day, that allowed us to be consistent with our visibility, because we are emotionally connected to the why. And another, like maybe the fourth type of consistency, is in terms of structure. Many people don't have a structure. Many people, when you don't have a structure, you don't know every single step of moving a person from A to B, where they're now, where they want to be. Even like when you describe your the transformation, or with your storytelling, if you don't have a structure, so you are very, very fragile, meaning that the way that you operate the partnership with the other person is easily broken when one person, for example, leaves. If I usually have a chat with Tom in this organization, if Tom leaves, everything becomes less strong compared to when Tom was part of the team. So we discuss about consistency in terms of communication, in terms of the intent, the visibility, and the structure. And just to recap, when there is no consistency, trust weakens, uncertainty increases, and engagement declines.
Alessandro, just interested to tap a bit more into the word intent. You know, when a charity, reaches out to an organization, they have, with the intent that they want to partner with them, that there might be some form of relationship, whether it's leveraging that organization's skills within the workforce, whether it's a financial relationship, or maybe it's some volunteering opportunities. How do we make sure that that intent is aligned?
To answer to this question, a month ago, I was in a masterclass. I was an attendee rather than delivering the masterclass. And the majority of people, they said that they were feeling uncomfortable selling. So when I asked to the person, to the room, despite I was an attendee, how do you define selling? Many of them, they said getting something. For me, selling, since I have a background in sales, is giving to the other person. It's not getting, it's giving. So my intent when I'm in front of a person, whether I'm selling a service, a physical product, an idea, or something like intangible, my intent is how can I give a value to the other person? Yes, they're going to give me something in return. And in one of the videos, we discuss about the law of reciprocity. I give you something in return of something else. So my intent, and the intent that we suggest to everyone to set this intent, is the intent of how can I give something that is so valuable to the other person that the other person feel I need to give you something back. So the intent for me is giving rather than getting. When we reframe our intent from giving rather than getting, we build the consistency of go to the room or put everything that we can give to the other person on the table rather than be afraid of asking. This is my interpretation, my practical experience. Intent is giving rather than getting.
And within this step, this seventh step, that is a crucial word, and a reason why we are doing this particular step, because we've equipped you with all the skills, the tools, the resources, steps 1 through to 6. Step 7 now is about bringing all of that together and sustaining those partnerships, because we don't want you to work harder. We don't want it to be, you've got to add more weight to the team, more stress, more boulders pushing up those hills. This is actually charities understanding that when you build a partnership, when you build a relationship, it is collaborative. Charities have an awful lot to give as well. You bring huge amount of value to corporate organizations, to partnerships. It isn't that they've just got something to bring for you. So think collaboration. We, in this final step, are going to equip you with understanding what value you bring to the table, understanding the solutions that you're going to provide the corporate organizations and the partnerships you build, so that those relationships are sustainable and future-proof your charities, so you're not recreating the wheel every single time.